So vagus nerve stimulators are becoming very popular, and I hear from a lot of people that ask me, is this really a health beneficial tool, or is this just something else I buy and end up putting in my bedroom and try to hang laundry on it? So I want to make this video to help you understand that there are some health issues where these tools really can be beneficial, and for others they're going to kind of be a waste of money for some folks. So in this video I want to go over the different types of stimulators that are out there, people that it could benefit. We're going to go over some studies here. I'll have the links to these studies in the description below. It's okay if I stand in front of these, we'll make them big when we need to. But we're going to kind of talk about some of these circumstances, where they can help and why they help, and also why it doesn't benefit some people. So when we're looking at the vagus nerve, this is a big nerve system that comes down from our brainstem and kind of goes down both sides and through our diaphragm and down to the body, and it really is in charge of a lot of the signaling that takes place in the parasympathetic side of our autonomic nervous system. So this is just a system in the body that runs a lot of the stuff that we don't really have to think about doing. We don't have to think about our heart beating. It just kind of does that. So the parasympathetic side is the rest and digest side. We also have the sympathetic fight or flight side. So this rest and digest side and this vagus nerve is kind of in charge of a lot of these things like digestion and our heart rate and how we breathe and sexual function and stuff like that. And when these things aren't working correctly, a lot of people just like to blame the vagus nerve, and they're going to say, oh man, your vagus nerve is busted, you need to stimulate it. So they're going to talk about different types of breath exercises and meditation and deep and slow breathing, and just understand that all of those types of vagus nerve stimulation exercises don't always work the same pathway that these stimulators do. These stimulators are sort of like these electric shock givers. So it's just a little device, and it just runs on a simple little battery, but it's basically putting electric impulses into your body. So we have these carotid ones. They'll kind of you'll hold it up to your neck, or you'll leave a little device that kind of sticks on your neck. So it's reaching the vagus nerve through your neck where it comes down. Or we have these auricular ones that is kind of like a little device that you just put in your ears. It's kind of like headphones a little bit, but it doesn't play Bon Jovi. It's just pushing this electrical impulse into your ears, into this auricular branch of the vagus nerve. And that's kind of like the closest part to the skin where the vagus nerve goes, so they find that these work really well. And I'm okay with people using either. These ones here on the neck are usually used more for it's more of an intense, it's like this is going to be a more powerful and shorter treatment session, just like a couple minutes usually, and they're usually more used for like severe headaches or really bad stress, where most of the studies that I talked about use these ear methods, and I think Vagus Stim is the one that I use. I'm not super convinced that it really matters which one you use. There's a lot of brands out there. I'll put a link in the description below to the one that we use, along with any discount codes that we have, so you can just check that out. But know that there's different ones on the market. Now, when we're looking at issues where these can be helpful, most people are going to talk about, oh, it's a digestive fix-all. All your digestive systems are going to get fixed when you use this vagus nerve stimulator because your vagus nerve is just not allowing your digestive system to work correctly. And the reality is that that's not really the case. There's a lot of things that can go wrong with the digestive system. If you've watched my channel before, you've heard me yammer on about a whole lot of them. But what goes wrong for a lot of people is that they're either way too stressed or their body is too stressed, that they're stuck in that sympathetic fight or flight side of the autonomic nervous system. So when that's the case, the body can't move into the parasympathetic rest and digest side. Now the digestive functions aren't going to work correctly, especially the ability to make stomach acid. That's a really big part of that whole digestive process, is your body's ability to make a proper level of stomach acid. And the body needs to be able to move into the parasympathetic state so the vagus nerve can say, hey, it's time to kind of do this. So for a lot of people, when they use these vagus nerve stimulators, they're just kind of forcing their body to move into that parasympathetic state a little bit, and now that digestive process can work the way that it's supposed to. But there's a lot of other malfunctions that can go wrong with the digestive system where stimulating your vagus nerve is not going to fix the problem. So I have another whole video, I'll put the link in the description below, for our video on your vagus nerve is not broken, it's just being blocked, that goes over some malfunctions that can happen in the body that restrict the vagus nerve from functioning correctly. So with any of these issues that we're talking about, these stimulators really can help and really can relieve some symptoms. I just don't want you to view it like it's the answer, like it's the underlying cause being corrected. You don't have a kind of being shocked deficiency. That's not what you've been missing most of your life, is just being shocked a little bit. That's not the circumstance. What's going on is that there's things that are going wrong, there's a malfunction happening, and if we can stimulate this vagus nerve a little bit, in a lot of cases, it can help some things work better. That doesn't mean you're fixing it. There still may be an underlying cause that needs to be corrected, but for a lot of people, it's just about getting any kind of relief. It's just about getting any kind of improvement. And if someone's really stuck in the fight or flight state, and all they needed to do is be able to move into the parasympathetic state to allow the digestive process to work, then they really can fix the problem long term. It's just not that common in my experience. Most people need to fix other underlying issues. So if you have a lot of digestive issues, we'll put links in the description below for our video on full digestive reset, and that'll walk you through a lot of other things that can go wrong too. So when we're looking at these studies on the effects of this vagus nerve stimulation with acid reflux and on constipation, both of those issues can come about when someone can't make enough stomach acid. Now there's other underlying causes of both reflux and constipation, but a lack of stomach acid is very common. So these studies show that, wow, it really helped a lot of people. It didn't help everybody, but it helped a lot of people. So that helps us understand when we can help the body move into the parasympathetic state, that some of those functions of the digestive process can really improve for some people when that's the cause for them. It's not always the cause for everybody. There's other reasons that someone might not be able to make enough hydrochloric acid. We have a lot of videos on that. In this video, I want to talk more about some of these other things like inflammation, where the science is really showing this VNS, like all the cool kids call it, vagus nerve stimulation, VNS, is really helping a lot of these circumstances. So when we look at this study here on the role of sympathetic nervous system in mild chronic inflammatory diseases, they helped us understand that inflammation has the ability to push the body into that sympathetic fight or flight state. And then as the body chronically in this inflammation state gets pushed more into that elevated sympathetic state, now the body is going to react to what's creating this inflammation even more. So it sort of has the ability to elevate the immune system's reaction to what's causing the inflammation. So it can create this cycle of elevating the sympathetic state and then increasing the inflammation, which can get people stuck in this broken cycle of chronic inflammation and chronic fight or flight state. And then they can have other problems that come from this vagus nerve system being shut down because they're stuck in that fight or flight state. And beyond these stimulation devices that we're talking about here, the medical world also has systems that they can put right into the body that will stimulate the body all the time or on a specific schedule. And this study was helping us understand that when the vagus nerve is stimulated, either naturally or through these mechanisms of using some type of stimulation, that the vagus nerve will release this acetylcholine, and the choline has the ability to affect these receptors on the immune cells and can reduce the level of inflammatory cytokines that are available, which really brings down the inflammation in the body. So there's a lot of studies out there that are showing crazy improvement from this vagus nerve stimulation to chronic inflammation issues. So this is where I see these things really have a lot of value. And when we look at this other study on clinical applications and mechanisms of vagus nerve stimulation in the treatment of immune diseases, we see that it can really be beneficial with a lot of autoimmune issues, things like rheumatoid arthritis and Crohn's and MS. And when we understand that a lot of these autoimmune issues are just the body overreacting to some problem, then when we can reduce those inflammatory reactions, now we're really reducing the experience that the person is having. We're bringing those symptoms down. Now, a lot of these autoimmune issues may still have some underlying problem that needs to be corrected, like a leaky gut issue or some type of invader creating problems. But when we can reduce the inflammation, now we're taking the body out of that sympathetic fight or flight state and can allow a lot of the bodily functions to improve. And a lot of these autoimmune issues can have to do with an inability to digest and break down our food correctly. So if we can help the body move more into the parasympathetic state, now that can improve that digestive process for some individuals and help them break their food down better, reducing the magnification of this autoimmune issue in the first place. So there's also a lot of other types of health issues, and I kind of view these as signal-based. There's some health issues that are actually FDA approved for this vagus nerve stimulation, things like epilepsy and what they call treatment-resistant depression, and a lot of these other issues that are showing really good signs and good science of this. And we'll put some of these studies up on things like vertigo and sexual arousal for females, RLS and POTS. We view part of the underlying cause for a lot of these issues is sometimes the body just doesn't have enough minerals to allow signals to travel correctly. And a lot of these issues, you'll also see that things like acupuncture can kind of create improvement for some of these issues because the acupuncture is allowing signals to travel better. And that's a lot what this stimulation is doing. This electricity going into the body is an electric being. There's electricity that kind of flows through there. And when things aren't working correctly and they can be stimulated, you can allow some of those signals to travel better, and now a lot of these symptoms can show improvement. And that's why we see with a lot of these studies that a lot of the people in the studies really improve, but not all of them do. There's other possible underlying causes for a lot of these issues. When we look at things like insomnia or this study on VNS for treatment-resistant anxiety issues, a lot of these issues can be caused by a lack of minerals and a lack of resources where signals can't be moved correctly from the brain to the body and the body back to the brain, but they also have the ability to be caused by being too stuck in the fight or flight state. So in a lot of cases, different mechanisms could be benefited from this vagus nerve stimulation with these health issues, but in other circumstances, there can be other causes of anxiety. We see one that we call an anabolic imbalance, where someone's stuck in this anabolic state most of the time, and that has the ability to create anxiety. So instead of looking at the symptom, we often really need to look at the person. But we do want to understand why a lot of these issues are improved by this vagus nerve stimulation, and then we can figure out, is this right for us? Now, the main people that wouldn't want to use something like this are dealing with things like arrhythmias or bradycardia, or maybe they have a pacemaker or some other type of implanted device, or maybe during pregnancy. Those seem to be the things where people really want to stay away from this. But with any of these issues, you'd want to talk to your doctor. Remember, I'm not a doctor. I'm not giving anybody medical advice. I'm basically a professional stand-up comic turned nutrition author, because when I lost my voice for 8 years and 23 different doctors couldn't figure that out, I had to dig for my own answers. So now for 20 years, I've been teaching health professionals in more than 40 countries how to help their clients fix the actual underlying causes of problems instead of just covering up the symptoms. But again, we'll have all these studies in the description below so you can dig into these a little bit further. And if there's one of these topics that you want me to do a video on and dig a little bit more into how this particular stimulation has the ability to affect that particular health issue, just put that in a comment, and if I hear from enough people, I'll make some videos on those topics as well. But the main issues where I really see the science behind these stimulators really advancing and really having the ability to help some people are issues where their digestive issues are caused by being too stressed, or maybe the body being too stressed and they're stuck in that sympathetic state. Issues with bringing down inflammation in the body, chronic inflammation issues. Things where there's autoimmune problems creating a lot of inflammation and damage in the body. Or some of these systems where maybe signals are not traveling the way that they're supposed to. For some of these other things, some of these other digestive malfunctions, a lot of things need to be corrected with that digestive process to really fix those problems, and a vagus nerve stimulator is probably not going to do that. So I hope that gives you some insights, and if you want to better understand some of the things that can go wrong in the body that can affect this vagus nerve, you can jump over right now and check out that video on your vagus nerve isn't broken, it's being blocked. I can't wait to hear about your results.